wasn't a porn movie. Or some
No, now it's famous.
Some people thought it was, but
we should have copyrighted
this is
it.
what bedtime stories meant in the good old days. When people
right.
read stories.
We should have copyrighted that name.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And,
Named a stadium after it.
yeah,
The Bedtime
right.
Story Stadium.
Yeah, right. So you actually had some people that read stories at the library that they were the talent. I don't know if that's what started the idea.
Yeah. Well, we hired actors to read the stories and
they read.
Yeah. Well, it was like reading at the library, but we didn't do it in a library.
It was the same setting. It was two people, and they read for the camera, and
Yeah,
that was and kids.
Yeah.
There were kids that really loved it.
Yeah, right. Oh, sure. Well,
the certain age group really loved this thing.
We got fan mail from people.
Yeah, right.
And people said, well, kids do love it, and the good news is, kids want to hear the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, right.
So it's not, if you give them a tape, it isn't like they're going to be bored with it and throw it away. They'll use it, and then the parents want to buy something else.
Yeah.
I know that firsthand. Daniel just loves watching stuff over and over, or like on music.
Mm-hmm.
I have like a USB chip that plays music, and and there's a Gnarls Barkley song. He's like, Daddy, just play the old song. That's what he calls it, the old song, because it's like his old original. And if he had like a top 40, he wouldn't have top 40. He'd have like the Daniel's top 4 songs.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He's got Gnarls Barkley. He's got he's got Prince. He's got his Prince song that he likes.
Well, you can see now.
That lasts for a while,
Yeah.
I'd love to get something online marketing to grandparents, stuff like Danny likes.
Right.
So if he likes that, I can buy that and give it to him as my present. You
Well,
could too, but usually the fathers and mothers are so tired of buying stuff for their kids.
Actually, if we go look at your companies that you've been involved in, a lot of it has been children-based. The bedtime stories,
Right.
the early games for children,
Right.
and the Periscope Playhouse.
Definitely, yeah.
Right. Yeah. We had.
Yeah.
And when you talk about getting rave reviews from the bedtime stories, the Periscope Playhouse was the same thing. Those 6, and I can talk about that because I was involved with that.
Yeah, you did it.
The 6-sided cardboard hut that had a little periscope that popped up, and then it was just white cardboard. But Ann came up with the idea that let's put forth the idea that this is like a blank canvas that kids can work on. And I'd get emails from people who would show me how they different paintings. And one was like a castle with like mylar towers on it,
That's so
and
good.
other one was like they painted the inside like with furniture painted on it, and so people really love that
Well, when I
that
look
product.
at the thing that got us was kids loved it, but parents thought cardboard. Yeah, and it's too bad because it never got wet anyway, so you didn't need
No,
that.
and I interviewed like 20 of my, or not 20, but I interviewed probably like 5 of my friends who had children, and all of them said, anything cardboard I'm not throwing out more than a $20 bill for.
Yeah, and I don't.
And it was like their price point,
Yeah,
and for us,
I can appreciate that.
for our business model, we were looking at it had to be 70. Well, it had to be 75 to make it work, at a medium scale, and then maybe 49 if we were doing tons of them, So we never got to the price point that we needed to be at, but.
You know what I've thought lately though, when I've seen what I can do with Coroplast.
Right. We
plastic
could, we could do
and
it.
if I had a Coroplast and had the dyes and did the stamping in China,
Right.
ship it to the United States flat because it doesn't have to be disassembled. You could have a lifetime supply in a third of a container.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then just market it online with the online marketing we now know how to do, which we're just beginning to do in your day.
Right. Right.
Anyway. But
So we got to the Periscope Playhouse. We got we've got to get the Donut Man in somehow or another.
Yeah, the Donut Man, the iLog trailer,
the
the
iLogs.
The Donut Man was
the condom vending machines or the aspirin vending machines.
Yeah, the Donut Man was a leftover from my stock brokerage days, you might say. And the Donut Man came about because I had this one client that I got from the guy that mysteriously didn't hire me, Bob White, he had one really good client, not good, one famous client, Lloyd Borg. And one day Bob White was nice enough to say, you know, I've got this client that knows everybody. Doesn't have any money, but he'd be a good guy for you to know, to get to know the world. And it was a guy named Lloyd Borg who owned Willis and Borg Advertising. And he did have some money, but he was not a multimillionaire. But he had a very successful ad agency and really loved marketing. And I got in and helped him. I did public relations on public companies that he represented, and would go around to stockbrokers and talk to them and tell them about, you know, this company or that company, because he had about 3 publicly held companies in his trail. And I would tell him, you know, if their earnings were going to be bad, I'd say, well, they're probably not going to have up earnings this year, but wait till next year. When I came and told them that earnings were going to get better, they believed me, you know. And so we got like something like $500 a month, or nothing, no big fees. With $1,000, I mean, would be high. But I had like 5 or 6 of these companies, and I could keep my office going. But because I knew Lloyd, he had been working with Foley Manufacturing, and Foley Manufacturing had a deal where you could be in the saw sharpening business. If you went into something you bought from Foley, and you have your own little business, and you could go around, and this is kind of a really rinky-tink thing, but you can just imagine someone going around and stopping every place, had a bunch of saws and sharpening them up, you know. Anyway, he made a living. One of his clients, it was very successful, this Foley Manufacturing. So this crazy guy, Ed Anderson, came in, and he had seen some mini donut machines, and he had actually designed a little better one. So that was the thing that, and it was designed to sell to people who wanted their own business. And I did it, so I know it worked. You could go out into a county fair, you give the county, you know, $100 or $50 or something relatively small, set your little machine up, and you work Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And in those days, we were selling donuts for 75 cents a bag, and you know, you could sell $400 worth of donuts in a weekend, and you made $300. Now, it doesn't sound like much now, but now you're selling it for, you know, $5 a bag
or something. Yeah, right.
So, but we got a lot of people going on these deals, and along came this guy with the no. So we had the donut machine. Okay, then what happened was the
iLog trailer guy?
We did the iLog trailers. That we
were trying to create,
broaden the market so that you didn't have to go set up in a tent or something.
We tried to create we wanted to make it so they had their own.
And that's how Merrill Anderson got involved, because when we started selling the iLog trailers, the iLog brothers were making these trailers for horse trailers.
Yeah, and ice fishing houses too.
Well, they were. Oh yes, you're right. They were making ice fishing houses. That's right. And then we forced them to make things that looked like horse trailers that you could roll out onto the lake. And anyway, they were doing that on their own. They
pioneered this
shape,
and the design of the thing was there.
Only thing we did was put the donut machine in and then sell it as a unit.
And put a window in the side.
Yeah, and a window. But
and one of the advantages was that it would lower down off of its wheels, so you're more
right on the ground,
street level rather than being wheel-based.
Now I'm trying to think of so what happened then was there was a bad perfect storm of bad news. Lloyd Borg died.
Yeah, remember that.
Merrill Anderson was killed in a plane crash.
Right.
Ed Anderson, that was the inventor of the donut machine, was kind of a semi-crook. He's one of the partners, I could say, maybe was not a good partner. He set up his own business in competing with us.
Yeah,
he only owned like 25% of the business, and all of a sudden he wanted 100%. So I was left with nobody basically. I got Hank